Brian, this is one of the most compelling stories I've ever seen of persistence, transformation, someone going from lost to found. It's something you're going to want to watch, I promise.
Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Called to Love podcast, a show dedicated to exploring how human relationships and intimacy with God are connected. Join us as we discuss hard-hitting topics that inspire and motivate you to go deeper into the intricacies of building meaningful relationships. Here now are your hosts, James Levacy and Brian Knadel.
Bubba, you ever notice how when something really great happens, people want to jump on board with it and celebrate, like maybe you get a trophy or something like that? Even the people that played the bench, they want to hold the trophy and get their picture taken. You know, if you win a Super Bowl and if your team that you play on win a Super Bowl and you didn't play in that game, you still get a ring. It doesn't matter if you had a broke foot or what. You get the trophy. With Christianity, I notice a lot of people love to hear the testimonies and see the fruit of people that they can celebrate. I mean, oftentimes you'll have somebody that was just kind of lost as a goose, and they'll come around, and the first thing they want to do is, hey, bring him up on the stage. Let's get Brother Bob up here. Bob, tell us about your journey lately. And then everybody celebrates and claps, and the preacher just, this is what I'm talking about right here. Y'all need to be out there getting Bobs in here and go out there, see? And what I find is everybody loves to celebrate the Bobs, but they don't like coming alongside of them when it's rough, when the rubber meets the road. All the time it took for the labor of love of pouring into Bob. And I know God has his divine, like Bob would have never come to the Lord if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't revealed by the Spirit. But he has called us to be accelerators. He's called us to be change agents and to encourage people. He talks about it throughout the Bible, fertilizing, sowing seeds. I mean, if that wasn't necessary, then why is he calling us to do it? You get my drift?
I do.
Okay. So, but I notice when people come to the Lord, we all want to celebrate it, but very few want to put in the time and the effort to labor in love while that person goes through their ins and outs and their disbelief and their ideology and their mindsets and the things that go on with a non-believer that has no faith in God. Even will blaspheme God by saying things like, I don't believe in that. That's just a bunch of, mythical stuff. And, you're just superstitious and that sort of thing. But everybody wants a Bob when they come around. Everybody wants to take credit, just like that bench player that wants that Super Bowl ring.
Well, it's beautiful because you and I have dedicated an enormous amount of our life in the last 7-8 years.
Yes, we have.
To being intentional, not really knowing because we're brand new. We were just committed to love people and see people the way the Lord did, and that was an encounter on its own. And hadn't that encounter not taken place, we probably would not have been as committed or understood the full picture and perspective. One thing we learned quickly is some people take time. And the one thing that we struggled with and had to deal with and look at it in the face and set it aside was self-righteousness. We got to remove our expectations that someone that I'm just going to sprinkle, like, if you sell vehicles or you're in sales, we often use the term B-back powder. If we sprinkle enough B-back powder on a customer, they might come back sooner or later. And when they come back, there's something beautiful to go, wow, they came back to see me. They either found value or they saw or they shopped me, and my biggest shopper became my best buyer. What we have witnessed recently is something very beautiful. Is a friend of ours that we've been able to cultivate a relationship with for several years now, five or so years.
Yeah.
And he tells us about a long-term journey that he had been on with someone he went to school with back when he was 19. And what he had described to us about this guy, ultimately we later met him, and everything he said was true. Super nice guy. But he was the poster child for someone that could never get it right. He was the person that would take you on a high and a low. Just when you thought you made a difference, just when you thought you were getting somewhere. And this is what we witnessed over the years. And I think this journey they've been on had been 30 years.
Yeah. So we're talking about, I think it's okay to use his name. This guy named Paul was on a journey with a guy named Clifford for 30 years.
Yes.
Okay. And Clifford was a hellion. He was up and down and all around and all over the place, in prison, out of prison, would not commit to serving the Lord.
No, and struggled with all the things that you typically hear of, addictions, just dysfunction, relationships, financial issues, just circumstances and situations. Once you reach a certain level, it's like everything that could ever go wrong does. And but yet Paul was still faithful to continue to see him. And I think what was beautiful, we just recently had a get together of a bunch of men on a farm, and Paul brought Clifford
For the first time.
for the first time, and so Clifford comes. And what was beautiful about when we opened it up for discussion about the importance of relationships and our journey, he just jumped up, came up. We gave him an opportunity to speak.
Well, first of all, you couldn't get around Clifford without being infected by this overdrive of joy he had.
Oh, he was like, everybody was like, what is this guy on?
Yeah, I was warning people. I was like, dude, if you get over there by that guy, you're going to start laughing because he's just so full of joy
and love.
Yeah.
I mean, he just was so grateful and thankful. And a lot of Christians are armchair quarterbacks when they see that and go, oh, yeah, just give it time. It'll go down. Oh, he's just on a high right now. God just must pay the bill for him. I mean, give him another bill or give him another temptation or another failure. It's just, it happens to everybody. But what I loved that was so beautiful about what Clifford did, Clifford was very transparent and very honest, and everyone in the room had no doubt. He was clear about his journey with Paul.
Yeah.
And one thing he kept saying is, Paul never gave up on me. He was so emotional that his lips quivered. I mean, he literally, he had snot going everywhere. But what was beautiful about what he was saying is he was actually letting every man know, without even saying it, I'm one of the guys that you know that you've given up on, that you no longer talk to, that you're no longer in a relationship with, that you've already wrote up. But I'm letting you know that it was because of this guy, Paul, that never gave up on me. And Paul had even talked about it. He had gone through some discouraging things. I've done everything I can do. This guy's not going to listen to me,
Paul told us a few weeks earlier, he said, guys, I'm just going to be honest with you. I've tried everything I can, and I just had to get honest with God last night. It wasn't last night, but anyway, he was telling a story of one night he just said, God, I can be a donkey and ride in and deliver a word, however you want me to do it, but I cannot change this man. I'm done. That's what he said.
He did.
He give up.
And you know what's so beautiful about that? We're so oftentimes we can get caught up in the idea that I'm supposed to rescue, I'm supposed to redeem, I'm supposed to make sure someone gets saved. God just wants you to be the vessel. And what Paul reached was he was at the end of his rope. All the theology, all of the doctrine. He's an incredibly intelligent guy, knows the Bible, can articulate it well, and models for the most part, without a doubt, what someone would strive and want their family and the way they live.
Oh, absolutely.
But Clifford had to come to himself.
Yeah.
He had to have an encounter with Jesus that Paul could not get credit for. But Paul did get credit for being there.
Yeah.
And it was that just rang so strong. And what was so beautiful about it, while he was speaking, you and I both picked up on this, that people were absolutely emotionally involved in that, and all they could think of is, I've got to have some of that. So
Yeah.
we created an opportunity for him to pray.
Yeah.
And just encourage every man in there with a touch and a prayer.
Yeah.
And every single man lined up shoulder to shoulder. Over 30 men lined up shoulder to shoulder. And he just spoke over them. And it was beautiful.
Yeah. What was really, this shows the coolness character of God, because, you know, you can get whatever, you're going to have to take whatever you want out of this. I could give you my opinion, but you're just going to have to get your own. When Paul said, Father, I give up, I can't do it. I've done everything I thought you wanted me to do for this man, and I'm frustrated. I don't know what else to do, so you're going to have to do it. The next day, Clifford calls Paul and says, man, I don't know what's going on, but I just feel the love and joy of God just all over me. What is going on? What is this? I mean, it was the first real encounter he had that was transformation. You know, it was changing his heart, like the way he thought about people, the way he saw his mother, the way he saw the world was totally different. And it's like Paul, or it's like God had been like, finally, we can move forward. And I don't know, it's a mystery. But
I believe that.
But Clifford was an innocent guy over here just waiting to get this amazing encounter with God. And it's almost like Paul wouldn't let go of it. And as soon as he did, I mean, was it a coincidence that Paul gives up and the next day he gets blasted by God?
I don't think it's coincidence. I don't. I do believe, without a doubt, it was a progressive and gradual thing of just constantly being there, because he made mention of Paul always being there for him. Every time, even when he failed and he should have wrote him off, Paul still came. So there was something beautiful about the journey that Paul was saying, I'm not going to give up on you. I'm still going to come by and see you. Did Paul get discouraged? Yes. Did Paul get frustrated? Yes. Did he get mad? Yes. But the Lord is also showing us it's not about you, because I was long-suffering with you. I was there for you. So, and it's a beautiful story. And I just...
Well, you know, at one point, I asked the guys, there was about 40 men in there. After this powerful testimony that Clifford was talking about, I mean, it was real emotional because Clifford was just saying, I was so lost. And guys, I'm telling you, God, you know, he was telling about all these great things about God and how he experienced it. The guy doesn't know the Bible, but yet he was speaking scriptures without knowing it. Like, he wasn't quoting the verse and chapter, but he was quoting the scriptures. I mean, it was incredible. You can't just make that up.
No.
I said, after that, I said, guys, how many of y'all want a Clifford? And every man in there raised their hand. But how many are willing to go on a 30-year journey to raise up a Clifford? That's what we're talking about.
Wow.
That's where the rubber meets the road. There's not an expiration date. I've said it, I'll say it again. How long do we treat a new Christian like a new Christian? 6 months, 9 months, a year? How about until they mature? How about when they stop saying things that irritate you? How about when they start believing? How about when they start having faith? How about when they start having these amazing revelations of how good God is? How about that's when we get to a point to where we're like, man, but at that point they're no longer irritating, because they get it. They start acting in this, the goodness, the patience, the love, the gentleness, the kindness, the self-control, the others focused.
They're getting newer perspective.
So guess what? You got to get through that. You got to get through all the selfishness, all the self-focus, all the self-righteousness, all the irritating character of man to get to that point. And so we're just saying, hey guys, buckle up. This is what Jesus said to do. He said, die, sell all your stuff, and then you come follow me. He knew it was going to be hard for that guy to sell his stuff. He knew it. But he knew the guy's heart. And you know what? I think that was just what that guy needed to hear. I think the guy had to walk off and say, man, do I need to sell my stuff? Do I want to sell my stuff? I think I'm going to sell my stuff. No, because the Bible also says, many will say, no, I won't follow you, and yet they will. And there's going to be others that say, oh, I'll follow you, and then they never do.
That's right.
So which one won? It was the one that said no, but did. So Clifford was that guy that said no, but did.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So we've got to get through that.
Well, and again, we don't think twice when it comes to a child. If you're a grandparent, you're in no rush. You want your children, your grandkids to know that you're with them every step of the way. It don't matter how many diapers you got to buy. You will celebrate the day that they put pull-ups on and they go. You celebrate when they quit wearing pull-ups and then you buy their first pair of underwear. It's a progression of things.
We're going to save money when we can stop buying diapers.
I know, but that's what we do with people. Oh my God, they're costing me money. They're costing me time. Oh my gosh, I'm not getting sleep. They're always calling me. Why don't they know that?
Yeah.
Why do they keep doing that? And that's part of the journey. And Paul does a great job in talking about in the Corinthian church in the letters about the importance of really growing up and loving people right where they are and watching them mature and grow. That's the goal.
Yeah. I think we just got to put more focus as leaders. If you consider yourself a leader, if you consider yourself someone who's influencing other, we've got to put more emphasis on the relationship. The relationship is what causes us to want to get married. The relationship is what causes us to want to hang out with people. The relationship is what causes us to want to be in a group of people. No one wants to be around people that reject and laugh and scoff and do all these things. No, it's like, hey, we've got to present ourselves as loving to these people. We've got to present ourselves as something that the world doesn't see too much of, and that's love.
Yeah, I love the book of James 5:16. Confess your faults one to another, pray one for another that you're healed. That's community. That's saying we're on a journey together. We have not arrived. It's going to take us together on this journey of faith with the Lord. Let's strengthen one another. Let's sharpen one another. It's not always easy. It's not always easy.
But it's possible.
Yes.
We hope this episode of the Called to Love podcast has enriched your life and offered valuable principles to apply on your personal journey. Please explore our website at www.calledto.love for more information and to share your feedback with us. Until our next episode, may you find peace and love. And always remember, you are called to love.